السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. هي البلاد التي عرفت بتقاليدها الروحية وفلسفتها العريقة والقديمة وقادتها العظماء كالمهاتما غاندي. هي الهند المميزة بقماشتها الاجتماعية الفريدة بتفاصيلها، إلا أنها لطالما عانت كما تعاني اليوم من شقاق وتطرف. نظرة إلى الهند اليوم من الداخل. معكم زينب الصفار، تابعونا. هي واحدة من أهم القوى الإقليمية الصاعدة في قارة آسيا، ومن المتوقع في العقدين المقبلين أن تكون إحدى أهم القوى الاقتصادية الكبرى في العالم. هي جمهورية الهند المعروفة بثرائها الطبوغرافي ومواردها البشرية وموقعها الجيوستراتيجي المثالي. كما تطل الهند على طرق بحرية تربط أوروبا والشرق الأوسط الغنية بالنفط من ناحية بدول الازدهار الاقتصادي كالصين واليابان وبقية دول آسيا الشرقية من ناحية أخرى. وإلى جانب تنوعها اللغوي والديني والثقافي، تتميز الهند بتنوع كبير في مظاهر سطح الأرض، فجبال الهيمالايا المغطاة قممها بالثلوج تمتد لمسافة 2400 كيلومتر من الغرب للشرق، الذي يشكل حصنا منيعا للهند أمام الصين ثاني أكبر قوة في العالم المعاصر. وإلى الجنوب من الهيمالايا السهول الشمالية التي تعد موطنا لثلاثة أنهر كبرى هي السند والجانج وبراهمابوترا. هي ثاني دولة في العالم من حيث عدد السكان، ويقدر تعداد سكان عام 2013 ب1.37 مليار نسمة، ويشكل الهندوس 82% من السكان، بينما تتوزع النسب الباقية على المسلمين والمسيحيين والسيخ، وهناك أقليات أخرى أقل عددا تعتنق الديانات الجانية والبوذية والزردشتية واليهودية. نائب رئيس الجمعية الهندية للمحامين والمحامية ل41 سنة في المحكمة العليا في مومباي، وأستاذة القانون الدستوري المقارن والقانون الإداري والقانون الدولي في جامعة مومباي، وإحدى مؤسسي ما يعرف بمحاكم الضمير والحائزة جوائز عدة في هذا المجال، القاضية نيلوفر بهاغوات. كيف تصف التحولات في المجتمع الهندي اليوم وصعود قوى جديدة، وما طبيعة تلك القوى، ولا سيما في ظل وصول رئيس الوزراء الهندي ناريندرا مودي ابن منظمة RSS الهندوسية إلى الحكم، ما قد يؤثر على وضع الأقليات في النسيج الهندي الذي لطالما تميز بزركشاته. Professor Nilafar Bhagwat, Indian Professor of Law and Vice President of the Indian Association of Lawyers. Welcome to the Inside, ma'am.
It's my pleasure to be here with you.
You're most welcome, ma'am. Well, India is a country, and we all know that it's a country of great diversity, various different religious communities, philosophies living in India for centuries. What is the situation of India today in terms of coexistence as far as the religious groups are concerned, ma'am?
Indian secularism is not a new phenomena, and did not only develop after independence. For centuries, people of different religious groups have coexisted, and India has some of the oldest Christian communities. The Muslim minority is the largest minority. Apart from these two, we have Sikhs, we have Buddhists, we have Jains, we have the Parsis, who are the Zoroastrians who migrated to India, and we also have a few individual members still of the early Jewish communities in India. The contemporary developments which have taken place after the last election has been that for the first time since independence, this coexistence is somewhat threatened by fascistic political propaganda, as the government which was formed after the last election is the parliamentary wing of extreme fascist organizations.
Well, here, what do you mean actually by fascistic forces or groups? What is their nature, and what is their propaganda?
In the period when the British had colonized India, And after the Indian freedom movement became a recognized force in the Indian subcontinent, with a view to fragment the political unity of the country against British imperialism, various organizations were supported by the British, both extreme Muslim organizations and extreme Hindutva organizations. The Muslim League was established in 1906. This was followed by the establishment of an extreme right-wing Hindu organization in 1914. Thereafter, in 1926, came the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, which is another organization which is based on secret society principles and which is fanatical. And then came the establishment of the Jamaat-e-Islami, the Tablighi Jamaat, and other organizations. Now, whether they were fanatical Muslim organizations or whether they were fanatical Hindutva organizations, they set up more than one front organization. And the objective was to fragment the political unity of India. Now, it is very significant that just when in the contemporary period we find that once again Western capital has launched an assault on so many regions of the world, in particular the Arab world, Africa and South Asia.
How and why have these forces re-emerged?
It is in this context that presently, when a renewed onslaught, either by war or by other means, to fragment, once again to restructure societies in a manner similar to what was done in the earlier period. In this region you had the Sykes-Picot Pact, whereas we in South Asia were partitioned from one country, became two countries, and thereafter we became three countries. In the context of the present contemporary developments, once again in the context of the aim and objective to restructure regions and societies, it is significant that these organizations have raised their head, as they are collaborators of major companies and financial institutions, both Indian financial oligarchies and multinational companies which are Indian and foreign.
How is this translated in India today, Dr. Bhagwat?
The media, the major media in the country, whether it's national or regional, are funded and financed by financial and industrial conglomerates, Indian and foreign. And on a daily basis, there is a hate campaign being initiated and extreme propaganda demonizing the Muslim minorities, the Christian minorities, and other such groups. With a view, the aim and objective is the same as it was during the struggle against British rule, and that is to fragment the political unity and prevent the focus on issues which are economic, political and social, on the basis of which people can politically organize, and to divert the movement and split it into identity politics based on religion and caste.
Dr. Bhagwat, what is happening to the Indian society today? I mean, we hear a lot about booby-trapped cars, bomb blasts, assassinations, recruitment, especially in vis-a-vis the minorities. How would you describe the Indian society today? Is it confessional? Is it denominational, sectarian, religious, a-religious, secular? What type of society is it today?
Let me state at the very outset that Indian society is not confessional. Neither it is based on religious identity. It never has been, neither today or through centuries. Even with a very organized political campaign, the BJP, which is the parliamentary wing of the RSS, only got 30% out of the 65% electorate turnout. And even out of these 30% voters, almost half of this 30% voted for a development agenda and not for an agenda of religious animosity towards any group. And the bomb blasts which you are talking about and the assassinations are not directed only against the minorities. It is basically, if I can give you an example of Iraq, Iraq would sound to be an extreme case because in Iraq you have bomb blasts every day. In our country, we have been having bomb blasts every couple of months or say 2 or 3 times a year. But the objective is the same. The objective is to create fear, to instill fear in society, and also to make various religious groups apprehensive of each other. However, the mainstream Indian society continues to be secular because of the thousands of years history of different religious groups living in harmony, despite a very strong media campaign which is funded by companies and financial oligarchies to fragment Indian society. By and large, the society continues to remain secular, though from time to time there is apprehension created in different regions where rioting and pogroms take place against minority groups a couple of times a year.
Right, Dr. Bhaugat, we're going to stop now for a short break where afterwards we're going to discuss in details what you talked about as one of the main movements that is responsible one way or another to fragment the Indian society. إذا فاصل قصير ونعود، لا تذهبوا بعيدا. هي حركة هندوسية سرية عملاقة أو منظمة وجدت في الهند منذ 90 عاماً لأسباب محددة مسببة للشقاق كما يقول المراقبون. هي حركة راشتريا سويام سيفاك سانغ أو RSS أو المعروفة بشكل أفضل على أنها فيالق المتطوعين الوطنية أو المنظمة الوطنية القومية. نائب رئيس الجمعية الهندية القاضية نيلوفر بهاغوات، كيف تعرف هذه الحركة وأهدافها وسرعة تناميها؟
As I stated earlier, it is very significant that the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh was established during British colonial rule and was supported by the British authorities. Now this organization, though it makes false claims to patriotism, is not an organization which struggled for Indian independence. In fact, most people do not know that it is an organization which assisted in the partition of India, the first major fragmentation of the Indian subcontinent which took place. This organization, along with the Hindu Mahasabha, resorted to extreme propaganda and advanced the theory that nationhood can only be based on an accident of birth. Because as you know, the Indian subcontinent has been populated by people who are broadly Indians. And the Arabs use the expression Hindus, which mean the people who live across the Indus. But they belong to different religious groups. Even if they belong to different religious groups, they were all Bharatiya or Indian, as we say. And Mahatma Gandhi, who was the best representative of the secular stream of Hinduism, believed that and propagated that every Indian, irrespective of their philosophical and religious beliefs, were an integral part of the Indian subcontinent. But the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh advocated a theory which led to the partition of India, and the Hindu Mahasabha, the sister organization, which was established even earlier to the RSS, actually formed a government with the Muslim League in the province of Bengal and Sindh prior to partition, and both these organizations voted for the partition. This is a little known fact, that the extreme Hindutva fanatical organization assisted in the partition of India.
Dr. Bhaugat, we all know that one of the members of the RSS has assassinated the Mahatma Gandhi. Does that mean they were against the freedom movement, and why?
Yes, it is true that a member of the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh assassinated Mahatma Gandhi. And though they attempted to deny it immediately after his assassination, because the organization was banned and the organization instructed them to dissociate themselves. But subsequently, when some were released after a life sentence, a few were hanged in the conspiracy. They disclosed that it was true that they were members, even at that time, of the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh. They were opposed to Mahatma Gandhi because Mahatma Gandhi led the anti-imperialist movement, whereas the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh was assisting covertly British imperialism and British capital and British companies in the region. They were opposed to Mahatma Gandhi because he stood for an India which would be economically sovereign, self-respecting, with dignity of labor for each individual, whether man, woman or child, a democratic society in which the financial oligarchies and companies would not be the dominant section who would control development and political policy, but it is the people who would be at the core of all development and policies for development.
The RSS, is it a pure Indian movement or does it also operate abroad?
I would not say that the RSS is a purely Indian organization in that sense. When they first emerged, they were admirers of Mussolini and of Nazi Germany and Hitler. In fact, they even tried to establish military schools on the lines of the Italian fascists. And as everyone knows today, that the Italian fascists and Nazi Germany were actually funded by Western bankers in the United States and Britain. As far as the RSS is concerned, it has various umbrella organizations. It calls itself the Sangh Parivar, that is the family of organizations. And one of its sister organizations actually held its first conference in Washington when it was established. That is the Vishwa Hindu Parishad. And there is a very strong unit of the RSS in the United States of America. And they receive funding from the United States, from the UK. And therefore, I would not say it has strong links in the United States. And I would not therefore say that the RSS is a purely Indian organization because its objectives are not linked to the destiny of the people of India. It supports the kind of economics and politics it supports is of global fascism which cuts across national boundaries.
The fact that the RSS is in the spotlight today is that because of one of its famous sons, which is the current Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi. What's going to happen today, Dr. Bhagwat, to the minorities in the colorfully embroidered Indian fabric?
Prime Minister Narendra Modi led the election campaign on behalf of the parliamentary wing, the BJP of the RSS. It's true that he's been a member of the RSS. However, he campaigned not on the basis of a fanatical Hindutva agenda. He campaigned on the basis of development. He said that what we stand for is the development of India. Because somewhere the campaign committee realized that a campaign of hard fascism would not work with the electorate. Now, immediately after the election, being aware that despite a campaign which was funded by financial oligarchs, by the Indian companies who are multinationals, by the MNCs, yet they were not able to secure more than 30% of the 65% votes which were cast. And as I've said earlier, out of this 30%, half and more were for the development agenda. Therefore, he realized that in reality, the vote is not for the fascistic program or the hate campaign of the RSS to fragment society, but it is for the development agenda. So, having achieved his life's ambition of becoming the Prime Minister of India, he has tried to dissociate himself from the hardline wing of the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh and to project himself as a Prime Minister who believes that in a country where different religious groups have to coexist, it should be the development agenda and not the fanatical agenda of the RSS, which should be center stage.
Well, that's very diplomatic to say that the Prime Minister has tried to dissociate himself. How is this going to really affect the situation on the ground? How come then there is an increase in recruitment in the lines of RSS? And according to observers, while RSS members used to avoid publicity, they now engage with journalists, and the group highlights its relief work, of course, during floods and earthquakes. The RSS, energized by the Modi wave, has been steadily growing. In October 2013, 2,000 people joined the group. In April 2014, there were 4,800 new members. It's very paradoxical. They are a secretive movement, and yet they want to attract the media because of their relief work. They want to have coverage, and they have a political front in the parliament embodied in the Bharatiya Janata Party, or the BJP party. Ma'am.
Here we must understand, in the context of your question, and you have framed it as you have framed it, that fascist political parties have their similarities, they also have their differences. When individual members of fascist parties assume leadership positions, despite their best intentions, it is the fascist organizations who control the agenda. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi is a member of that organization. And the hard realities are that they will not allow him to step out of line. If he were to do so, they would attempt to reassert political control. On the ground, the situation, as you said, is correct, that there is a massive membership drive, that with the majority that they have won in the lower house in Parliament, they don't yet have a majority in the upper house. I would like to emphasize this. Therefore, they are not able to get some legislative provisions passed, and they are dependent on the opposition parties for passing of certain legislative enactments. But you must remember that the Supreme Court of India has also said in successive judgments that secularism, that is the coexistence of all communities, is a part of the basic foundation and framework of the Constitution of India, and that no political party can alter this.
Well, Professor Nilufar Bhagwat, Indian Professor of Law and Vice President of Indian Association of Lawyers, many thanks indeed for joining us.
Thank you for having me on your television.
You're most welcome, ma'am. إذن لقاء جديد في الأسبوع المقبل مع ضيف جديد وقضية جديدة ودائما من الداخل. للمزيد من التواصل بريدنا theinside@almayadeen.net وصفحتنا على الفيسبوك من الداخل. من كل فريق عمل من الداخل من كل الميادين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.